Servando Gomez Martinez was a man who went from being an everyday schoolteacher in an elementary school to being one of the most wanted drug lords and the leader of a notoriously violent drug cartel based in Mexico. Born on the 6th of February 1966 in Arteaga, Michoacán, Mexico, Servando Gomez Martinez lived a relatively normal life for the first few decades of his existence. He started out in his career as a rural teacher at the Melchor Ocampo Elementary School in the 80s. It was this time he spent as a teacher that earned him the nickname La Tuta. Later on, he became a farmer. However, his regular life on the right side of the law would come to an end in 2001 when he began to get involved in drug trafficking. That was when he started his life of crime, never to return to his former profession. Servando Gomez was also known by the alias, La Tuta. This nickname was inspired by his time spent as a school teacher and possibly by the fact that by 2010, he was still registered as an elementary school teacher in the state of Michoacán, and was earning a salary of about 50,000 pesos, during this time even though he was already in the drug business. La Tuta began his career in drug trafficking as an independent marijuana smuggler. Not long after, he joined a drug cartel and organized crime syndicate known as La Familia Michoacana, La Familia or LFM for short. This drug cartel was formerly a part of the Los Zetas organization, the paramilitary enforcement arm of the Gulf Cartel, but in 2006, it split off. Servando was a co-founder and high-ranking member in La Familia, which was often described as a pseudo-religious group because one of their leaders and founders, Nazario Moreno Gonzalez, also known as El Mas Loco, which translates to the craziest one, referred to their killings as divine justice and preached that the organization had the divine right to eliminate its enemies. The members of the organization were given Bibles which contained a sort of moral code that they had to live by. La Familia Michoacán was known to produce large amounts of methamphetamine, meth, and distribute their products in Mexico and the United States. On the 25th of February 2010, Servando Gomez was sanctioned, along with 21 other international criminals, by the United States government for his involvement in drug trafficking. This sanction was done under the Foreign Narcotics Kingpin Designation Act, commonly referred to as the Kingpin Act. The act froze his assets in the United States and prohibited U.S. citizens and companies from carrying out any kind of business transaction with Servando Gomez Martinez. In 2009, on the 56th of July, Servando, who was the operations chief and spokesman of La Familia, called a local radio station on behalf of the cartel. He announced that the cartel was a necessary evil that was created to look after the interests of our people and our family. Servando also stated, "The only thing we want is peace and tranquility." The call to the radio station was an attempt to strike some kind of truce with the Mexican government. The government ignored this truce offer and rejected the cartel's other calls for dialogue. At the time, La Familia was one of the strongest and fastest growing drug cartels in Mexico. However, it split up, which caused it to undergo gradual decline. The split of La Familia began in December 2010 after false claims that the group's leader, Nazario Moreno Gonzalez, had been killed by Mexican security forces. Upon hearing this news, José de Jesus Méndez Vargas, also known as El Chango, took control of La Familia. However, this move didn't go down well with some of the cartel's other leaders, including Servando Gomez Martinez. The alleged death of Nazario brought to light a power struggle occurring within the Familia. This power struggle caused Servando Gomez, along with a large part of the cartel including some of its co-founders, to leave La Familia Michoacán and start a new cartel, which was named Caballeros Templarios, which means Knights Templar in English. In January 2011, La Familia Michoacán announced that they would be disbanding and ceasing operations as a cartel completely. They made their announcement by hanging banners all across the city of Morelia, which is the capital of Michoacán. In the banners, they said their reason for disbanding was because La Familia was being unfairly blamed for committing crimes which they claimed were actually being committed by federal forces, even though there were speculations that the cartel was feigning disbandment because they wanted to reduce the attention they were getting from authorities and carry out their methamphetamine distribution and other illicit acts with more ease. The Knights Templar soon announced their presence, declaring openly that they were taking over from La Familia. The announcement the Knights Templar made occurred in March 2011, in a fashion similar to the one La Familia used to announce their disbandment. The Knights hung banners from bridges, monuments, and even school gates, to make known their takeover. The separation of the Knights Templar from La Familia predictably led to the development of a feud between the two cartels. La Familia, even after announcing that it was disbanding, continued to carry out their activities in the city. The cartel was considerably weakened by the split that had occurred, and this was worsened by the arrest of their new leader, José de Jesus Mendez Vargas, who was captured by the Mexican Federal Police at a road checkpoint just a few months after he took control of the cartel. Despite the feud between the Knights Templar and La Familia, the new cartel was very similar to its parent cartel. It had similar pseudo-religious ideals, with even its name, Knights Templar, having religious connotations. They also shrouded themselves in the same moral light as La Familia, announcing that they were at the service of the Michoacán society and that they would safeguard against robberies, kidnappings, extortion, and they would shield the state from possible rival intrusion. La Tuta developed an ethical code, similar to the Bible that was used by the members of La Familia. The code was contained in small, 22-page books which were distributed to not only members of the cartel, but to the public as well. The book contains the cartel members' oaths to fight against materialism, respect women and children, help the poor and helpless, not use drugs, etc. As the leader of the Knights Templar, Servando Gomez called for a united front against the Los Zetas organization. He joined forces with other cartels, including the Sinaloa cartel and the Gulf cartel, to form a gang unit called Carteles Unidos, United Cartels, or La Resistencia, the Resistance. This squad was composed of well-trained gunmen who had the sole purpose of fighting and eradicating the Los Zetas cartel, who were intruding into and trying to take over former La Familia Michoacán territories in Michoacán. In 2011, Servando released a video defending the Knights Templar organization. He insisted that the Knights Templar was not a cartel, but described his organization as a brotherhood founded by a set of statutes and codes. He went on to declare the peaceful intentions of the Knights Templar, saying that their function was to help people, preserve the state, and keep Mexico free from people causing terror. However, despite all of Servando's flamboyant displays of morals by hanging up banners, distributing the cartel's moral code, and making video announcements, his cartel eventually betrayed whatever trust they may have won from the public. They imposed a reign of terror on the city. In addition to trafficking drugs such as meth, marijuana and cocaine, the Knights Templar started to engage in other crimes such as torturing and murdering people, kidnapping, extortion, robbery, and money laundering. Even after his cartel had started to commit extremely violent crimes, Servando continued to make public statements. It was obvious that he enjoyed the media spotlight. Servando released several YouTube videos, talked to television reporters, phoned in on radio shows, and even made statements on social media platforms, such as Facebook. He wasn't the type to go quiet and wait for the heat to die down. In this, he was very unlike other drug lords who preferred to stay out of the spotlight, as much as possible. In some of these videos, he called his cartel a necessary evil that used violence to protect the people from even more violent rivals who were working with the authorities. Servando gave an interview in 2014 to a television media outlet where he admitted that he was aware that he was a criminal, and that he knew he would have to pay for his crimes. La Tuta even went as far as defending some of his illegal activities, such as his illicit trade of iron ore to China, claiming that Chinese smugglers of iron ore had a right to expand their markets. However, he insisted that he wouldn't turn himself in but would rather fight to the death. La Tuta's affinity for the spotlight led to the diminished strength of his cartel, and would eventually lead to his arrest by the Mexican authorities. At the time, the Mexican government was on the offensive against drug cartels and had been bringing down drug lords who were heads of the known cartels. Leaders of the other major cartels had been captured or killed. So, as the authorities began to close in on Servando, he was forced to go on the run, hiding in various locations including safe houses and even caves. In the absence of their leader, the Knights Templar lost their forcefulness and their power depleted. Towards the end of his time as a free man, when it was evident that the cartel was almost completely diminished, Servando made yet another public statement. But this time, his tone was different. He was no longer defensive of his crimes or speaking defiantly against the government. In the audio he released, the infamous Capo was apologetic. He expressed his regret for all the violent acts he had committed or caused. He even apologized for being at the forefront of the Knights Templar organization, asking for forgiveness from family members of those who had died because of him. Still, La Tuta refused to turn himself in, saying that he would only pay for his crimes before God. On the 27th of February 2015, the authorities finally closed in on Servando Gomez Martinez. He was arrested in Morelia, Michoacán, the same state where he was born and spent most of his life in. The Mexican Federal Police captured him as he left a safe house while wearing a baseball cap and scarf to hide his face, which had become popular as a result of his frequent media appearances. During the arrest, 8 of his bodyguards were also captured. According to the authorities, the entire operation, the arrest of Servando and his bodyguards, was carried out without a single shot being fired. The authorities seized a grenade launcher, 3 grenades, a machine pistol, 4 assault rifles, and 7 handguns. Prior to his arrest, the authorities had been staking out some houses in Morelia that they believed he used, all to no avail. However, they were alerted to his location on the 6th of February when they saw some of his accomplices, including his girlfriend, carrying cakes, drinks and food, presumably in preparation for a celebration of the drug lord's birthday. After he was captured, La Tuta was taken to Mexico City to be questioned, after which he was paraded in front of television cameras as he was taken to a helicopter that would transport him to prison that same night. At the time of his arrest, he was one of the most wanted drug lords in the entire country of Mexico. He is also wanted in the United States for drug trafficking and for being a terrorist or belonging to a terrorist organization. Servando was officially charged on the 11th of March in Toluca, Mexico State for organized crime, kidnapping and drug trafficking. The teacher-turned-drug lord is set to be behind bars for a long time. Don't forget to like this video and share it, so you don't miss out on new videos. Hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications. Until next time.